To examine the context of this analysis, our classmate presented a virtual learning environment conducted at the educational institution Liceo Patria Quinta Brigada, located in the city of Bucaramanga, Colombia. It is a public school and used this methodology during the COVID-19 pandemic. Teacher Diana developed classes on the Zoom platform. There were 35 students, 16 boys and 19 girls, from 7 to 8 years old or second grade elementary students. They were divided into two small classes. Teacher Diana also explained the positive aspects such as the students' motivation and commitment, and one of the main issues was the connectivity and the lack of communication to better explain and solve doubts. On the other hand, methodology was a relevant challenge since traditional classes had to be replaced with virtual classes with a lot of didactics and virtual tools. According to this contextualization, we recommend summarizing the information because data is, of course, important, but it didn't follow the instructions related to the length of the activity.
Regarding the outline of teacher Diana's analysis of her learning environment, she decided to take an approach and evaluation of the stakeholders based on people-built principles of building a learning environment. This assessment is focused on how these principles are evident within the mentioned environment. The teacher took 7 principles to analyze from the learner's perspective. The principles entail some premises that define the way the students work or carry out their learning process within the aforementioned virtual learning environment. Despite the limitation nature of this environment, these principles, according to teachers Diana's analysis, can work out without so many difficulties, and in fact, they seem to have been met in a mostly satisfactory way. Principles such as acknowledging the learners as the central participants of the learning environment, promoting collaborative learning, raising students' motivation and recognizing their emotions, considering the students' diversity of all sorts within the learning environment, challenging the students to foster critical thinking, aligning assessment with the expectations of the learning environment, and finally, constructing a more integral learning environment with different types of knowledge connected, meet the students' needs and have a positive effect in development of the learning process within this learning environment.
Based on the previous analysis, let's take a closer look at evaluating educators. The current state of education is often resembled a factory assembly line, churning out of students with a focus on rote memorization. But the world needs more than regurgitating facts. It needs critical thinkers, creating problem solvers, and effective communicators, skills that cannot be fostered in isolation. A true revolution is needed, placing students at the centers and fostering critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity through engaging experiences. This requires supporting teachers' well being, valuating their diversity, and providing opportunity for growth. Effective evaluation in teachers' collaborations are key to building a vibrant learning environment where everyone thrives. Let's invest in these futures of education where everyone reaches their full potential.
Regarding the analysis of the environment presented in the document, it can be said that it was done according to the 5 principles given by Araki. Considering this, in the first principle, we can observe that even when it is said that the virtual environment fulfills it, we can now observe how this environment facilitates every member to share his ideas with others. The second principle states that virtuality allows students to adapt their private spaces to get different materials and facilities, but in and of itself, the environment is not providing and fulfilling this principle. The third principle is said to be a shift, which is true because according to what is being shown, we can see that this virtual environment facilitates diversity. Finally, the fourth and fifth principles are said to be achieved, and we can evidence this because according to what is being shown about this environment, we can see that this environment is really flexible and provides different subsettings where students can feel safe and cared. The only suggestion that could be done regarding the analysis of this environment would be to make it explicit the ways in which every student's voice could be heard during these classes within the virtual learning environment.
Continue with this analysis, I would like to mention five most important insights from Diana's work. The first one, learner-centered education, role of the learning environment, impact of COVID-19 for virtual education, active engagement in learning, and dynamic and interactive learning environments. Teacher Diana emphasizes in the importance of learner-centered education, highlighting the active role of students and the necessity of creating dynamic learning environments that facilitate knowledge, sharing, and interaction. In this case, Diana evaluates a very interesting point such as the impact of the learning environment in students' interactions and the necessity for educational settings to adapt and support collaborative and interactive learning approaches. Furthermore, in the analysis made by teacher Diana are very well explained the implications of physical and social arrangements in the classroom. She discusses the adjustments made during COVID-19 pandemic, such as involving family members in the learning process, which aligns with how social phenomena in classroom affect learning and socialization. In the text of the second module, it is provided specific examples of traditional versus active learning classrooms, emphasizing the need for flexible and open spaces that promote multidirectional communication and collaborative activities, which aligns with the principles of learner-centered education mentioned by teacher Diana. Lastly, in her analysis, teacher Diana advocates for diverse and adaptable learning environments that extend beyond traditional classroom settings. This is exemplified when she mentions virtual platforms and materials that cater to cognitive, emotional, and social learning dimensions. Diana shifts a shared perspective with the text, where it is highlighted the necessity of creating learning environments that can accommodate different activities and foster a sense of identity and belonging among students, ultimately enhancing the overall learning experience. It was a very great analysis, and I'm so pleased to have read it.